it's J Auntie Bunton, and today we will be doing a Bible study on Mark 13, verse 12 through 13. We will be using the SOAP method, and I will tell you when we are changing categories. So to start off, I will just read Mark verse 12 through 13. Brother will betray brother to death, and a father his child. Children will rebel against their parents and have them put to death. Everyone will hate you because of me, but the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. The scripture we will be focusing on today is verse 13, and I'm actually going to read it in the Message version. In the Message version, it says, "Stay with it, that's what is required. Stay with it to the end. You won't be sorry, you'll be saved." So the message for today is going to be about endurance. And before I go into the observation, I want to put in here the definition of endurance. Endurance means the fact or power of enduring an unpleasant or difficult process or situation without giving way. And the term endure means to suffer or undergo something painful or difficult patiently. It also means to remain in existence, last. Going on to observation, I will be observing the whole chapter. So if you would like, you can pause the video and read chapter 13 for yourself, but I'm just going to give a brief overview. So basically in chapter 13, Jesus is telling the disciples about the destruction of the temple and the signs of the end times. And something I really want to highlight in the end of chapter 13 is Jesus tells the disciples a parable about an owner leaving his house and how he assigns his servants with tasks, and that it's important that the servants stay diligent and on watch and not sleep on the job because they don't know when the owner will come back. So basically he was telling the disciples to stay at their post and endure to the end. Going on to application. So my freshman and sophomore year, I used to run track. And before I get into the race I did, I want to say I would always joke with my mom that track could have been the worst sport I could have chosen because I was the shortest person on the team. I had asthma, and then I was also flat-footed. I'm the shortest person on the team. I have the slowest times. I'm flat-footed, and I have asthma. And I decided to run track. Going on into the application part where it really starts applying, my coach signed me up to do the 400-meter race. And if you guys don't know what the 400-meter race is, you have to sprint the whole track, a whole lap, and it's a full sprint. You have to sprint the whole track. And I had never done that before. I usually just did the 100 or the 200. So when he told me to do that, of course I was nervous and a little bit upset that I couldn't do the 200 or the 100. But anyways, we get to the meet, and when it's time for the people doing the 400-meter race to go up, I see that I'm placed in lane 2. Now, lane 2 is the worst lane a person like me can be put in because it's the farthest one back. So you're already last when you're in lane 2. But we get in the blocks and the gunshot goes off and we start running. So I'm over here running, and of course, I'm last. I'm way far behind everyone else. And we get to the curve, we get to the last curve and go into the straightaway, and my legs are screaming. Like, they feel so terrible. And as I'm running, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, now I see why people fall. Because, and I only thought that because prior to me running this race, I had seen one of my teammates do the 400 as well. And right before she crossed the finish line, she was in the last straightaway and she fell. So as I'm running and I feel this pain in my legs, I'm thinking, wow, now I see why people fall, because it is so hard and it is such a beating on your legs. But anyways, I'm thinking that as I'm coming around this curve, and then I tell myself, well, okay, how bad do you want it? So when I said that, I just kept on going, and I pushed my arms even harder, and I said, just go, just cross the finish line. And as I'm running, this is kind of off topic, but still on topic. But anyways, as I'm running, I am almost crying. You can see all the distress on my face. And it was just a combination of things. It was a combination of pain, anger, and embarrassment from being last and having to run this race and just everything. And I actually ended up catching up. But anyways, that's besides the point. I run the race, and again, this is off topic, but after I finished the meet and the meet was over, my mom had said that my dad was recording me running, and as he was recording me, you could see the distress and the sadness on my face. And they said they kind of laughed, but it was, yeah. It's kind of funny thinking about it now, but it wasn't funny at the time. Anyways, let me get back on track. So basically, I'm fighting the pain, I'm fighting the anger and embarrassment to keep my legs moving and cross that finish line and finish that race. And that's basically what Jesus is telling the disciples. Like, despite the chaos and everything, brother betraying brother, father killing child, children killing parents, throughout all that chaos and that pain, you need to stick with it, and you need to be firm, stand firm to the end. And the question that popped up in my mind as I was preparing was, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? Because in the midst of all the chaos and the pain, you need to be able to stick with it and continue obeying His word and standing firm in your purpose and your mission that you were placed here for. And you need to keep on running, and you need to keep those legs moving and those arms pumping. And it's okay if you stumble or even fall, but just make sure that you get back up. Like I said before, when I was watching one of my teammates run that race and she fell, she may have fallen, but she got back up and she finished her race and she crossed that finish line. So it's okay if you stumble or fall, but you got to have the endurance to get back up and push through the pain still and cross the finish line. When I was running, what would I have looked like if I just stopped in the middle of the race I was assigned to do? So what if I had just stopped in the middle of the race my coach assigned me to do, just because I was tired and in pain and annoyed and mad because I was losing and felt embarrassed? I couldn't just stop. My coach didn't care that I was losing. He cared that I finished the race that He assigned me to do. And that's the same with God. We all have a purpose here, and we all have things that he wants us to do and complete and fulfill in life. And no matter what, we have to make sure that we endure to the end through everything, not just if we're winning, but even if we're losing, even if we're in pain, and even if we're mad, we have to stay in our lane, stay on our course, and stand firm to the end. We can even talk about the disciples, Paul, for example. I've been reading Acts recently. God has me reading Acts right now. And the other day, I was reading about Paul, how him and Barnabas were in Lystra, I believe. If I'm saying that wrongly, please correct me. But anyway, so they were in Lystra spreading the word, and Paul was stoned. He was stoned by the people, and they dragged him outside of the city thinking he was dead. Now, when the disciples came, Paul immediately got up and went into the city, and the next day, him and Barnabas was back preaching the word. That is endurance. All of the disciples had endurance and discipline and determination. I'm just using Paul because he's the one I've been recently reading about. So despite all that pain from the stoning that Paul went through, because they dragged him outside the city thinking he was dead. So that means they got him bad. But in spite of that, Paul still got up despite that pain that he must have felt. And he had to feel angry. I mean, I would be mad if I got stoned. But in spite of that, he still got up, and the next day he went and preached the gospel and did what he knew he was supposed to be doing. And that's the type of endurance we all need to have. There's 2 lawnmowers going on outside. Anyways, so just because you're angry, just because you're tired, just because you got stoned, just because there's all this chaos going on, doesn't mean you can leave your post and not do what you were assigned to do. Don't let the master come back. Don't let the owner of the house come back to see you sleeping on the job. The race isn't for the swift or the strong, but those who can endure to the end. So again, I'm going to bring up the question, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to build that relationship with God? How bad do you want your place and inheritance in the kingdom? And again, none of us have to be perfect in order to obtain these things, but it takes effort and time and endurance in order to build them and keep them and maintain them. And in the midst of the chaos and pain, we need to make sure that we stand firm to the end. We need to stick with it and continue obeying him and his word. Keep those arms pumping and those legs moving. And even if you do feel tired, all you need to do is go to God for your strength. The word says, because Isaiah 40:29, he gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Either way, we're covered, and we have the resources and the ability to finish the race we were placed in. So going on to the prayer section. Again, you guys do the prayer on your own. Some things that I personally would bring up to God and that you can maybe mention in your prayer is I would ask God for strength, courage, bravery, and boldness in order to stay in the race and get back up and endure in order to cross that finish line and complete the tasks he put me on here to do. So that is all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please come back for another video and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!